Hello, my name is Maria and I have anxiety, and this is my second time filming this video because the first time I was just rambling on, and hopefully this one's a bit less rambly, but I can't guarantee that. So the reason why I wanted to make this video was because I found that growing up I didn't really have a lot of people that I could relate to with my sort of mental health condition, and I feel like the more it's spoken about, the more people discuss it, the more it's less stigmatised and people are able to relate and feel that comfort. Like for me, it was very reassuring and comforting when I found out someone else was similar to myself. It didn't make me feel abnormal, even though I'm not abnormal. I'm quite normal, even though I think my family and friends would disagree in that respect. But it made me feel like I could be more content with who I was when I found out I wasn't the only one going through what I was going through. So today I'm going to be talking about my anxiety and how I developed it and how I am now and what I've had to deal with, I guess, sort of thing. You may find that this video is a little bit jump cutty, but that's just because I'm trying to make it as sort of seamless talking about things as possible. Sometimes I ramble on or repeat words, so it's just easier for me to sort of just cut those out and just get straight to the point with what I want to speak about. So first of all, I'm going to discuss, I guess, what my anxiety is. I don't really know specifically what it is. Like, there's generalised anxiety, there's social anxiety, things like that. All I know is that mine is based around three things. One thing I'm not going to discuss today because I'm still sort of getting through that, navigating the minefield, you know, and I don't know when if I'll ever be comfortable enough to speak about that sort of thing. Hopefully I will in the future. That'd be pretty cool. That'd be gnarly as hell. But at the moment, I'm just gonna keep that under wraps, you know. And then the other two things are food and travel. So I'm a lot better with them now, but that was the initial thing that I had. And the other thing I have is pure OCD. So that is a type of OCD that is purely obsessional. I do not get the compulsions to do anything, but it's a lot of intrusive thoughts and things like that. And I'm not really going to discuss about that too much today, but even when I found out briefly that someone had it quite a while ago, when I found out I recently had it, it was quite nice to hear that someone else was going through what I was going through. So my anxiety started when I was 16. Before then, I didn't really have any issues to do with bad mental health or anything like that. Like, I had bits of anxiety here and there, but nothing too extortionate. And it developed because I found out one of my best friends was going to a different college than me. So I was going to a sixth form and she was going to a different college. And this really sort of stirred me up and started this sort of anxiety timeline, I suppose. So when I found out she wasn't going to the same sixth form as me, I started to feel really ill in the mornings. This was during summer 2014. I'd feel really ill in the mornings, and then as the day progressed on, I'd feel more and more normal, and I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know why I felt ill. But it was almost like I wanted to be sick, but I couldn't be sick. But then by the end of the day, I was completely back to normal. And this went on for quite a few weeks. And then in the end, I told my mum and dad 2 days before I started sixth form that my best friend wasn't going to the same sixth form as me. And they were like, oh, this is probably why you haven't felt very well, it must have been playing on your mind. And I didn't realise it was literally all I thought about, because I did have some friends going to sixth form, but I didn't really know them that well. And then it was just a whole plethora of new people as well, and I guess I felt a bit overwhelmed, and if my best friend was there I would have been more calmer about the whole thing. So I told my mum and dad, and after I told them I calmed down a lot, but there was still something there that didn't reset back to normal. So until then I'd been cool, collected, vibing, Jesus. And then after that, it felt like a small little grey cloud in my head. That's how I sort of visualise it. Like all my head was all cloudy and that when I was anxious. But once I told my parents, it calmed down, but it didn't calm down completely. There was still something there and I could feel it and I didn't know how to get rid of it. And this carried on throughout sixth form, and I still kept feeling ill and I didn't understand why and I didn't know what was going on. So eventually we went to the doctors and he said to me that it'd be good to speak to a wellbeing team at my sixth form, and he also recommended some other like mental health things like mind and I don't know what else, it was like 7 years ago. But the scariest thing he said to me was that I was the only one that could fix it, which was terrifying because I was 16 and I didn't understand what was going on in my body and I was trying to fix it myself, but I didn't know how and I didn't know what was going on. Sorry, my dog's crawling across the floor. And it was quite hard hitting the way he said it, and he didn't mean it in a rude way or anything like that, but what he said was true. Like, I was the only one that could fix myself, but there were things that could be put in place for me to help. I didn't want to go on tablets. I feel like they're not the right fit for me. I always wanted to go down the counselling route, and then if I found that that wasn't helping, there was always the option to go onto tablets or pills afterwards. In sixth form I went to 2 counsellors or 2 welfare ladies, and they were really helpful and they managed to sort of assess what was wrong, what was freaking me out, which was mainly anxiety around food and travelling. And it's quite funny really, every time I go and see the counsellor it'd be like an hour every week, and I had braces at the time and I hadn't told any of my friends that I was going and seeing a counsellor. So instead of saying, oh yeah, this is where I was for an hour, I'd say, oh yeah, one of the brackets broke on my braces, I've been to the dentist again. And they were like, oh, you've been to the dentist again? Cool, you got a lot. And I was like, yeah, I break those bad boys a lot. And there was one time I couldn't say the dentist because I'd been going to the dentist too much. Sorry, my doggo is attention seeking. So I was going to the dentist too much, and I said that, oh, I just saw one of my teachers in the hallway at reception and we just had a chat. And my friend was like, you were talking to our teacher for 45 minutes? And I was like, yep. I'm so glad that she didn't ask any more questions, because I don't know what I would have said. And yeah, I didn't tell any of the sixth form girls until, well, some of them I still haven't like properly told, but like I didn't tell some of them until like years after we'd left sixth form. And I think the main reason why I didn't tell them was because I was going through it myself. I didn't understand what was going on myself. I didn't want to have to explain to them what was going on because I didn't really know. I was still trying to figure it all out. So I just kept that sort of under wraps. So yeah, I saw 2 counsellors in sixth form, and then I saw a really lovely counsellor, welfare lady at uni, and now I have a private counsellor who I go and see like once a month, 2 times a month, if I feel the need. Like I don't have to go every week. I just feel like if I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed, just need to like settle down a bit, I'll contact her and we'll meet up and have a chat about shit. I don't know if you can see my dog, but here's her foot. So let's discuss anxiety with food and travel, shall we? So you might look at me and think, oh, she's a very thin girl. She's got anxiety around food. What does that mean? I have a very fast metabolism. So I will constantly need to be eating, otherwise bitch is gonna get hungry. But when I first became really anxious, that was sort of taken to the extreme. So I always had to have food with me wherever I was going. I had to know that where I was going to had food that I liked, meaning that I had to pack sandwiches and food with me wherever I'd go. My friends at uni can vouch for this and be like, yeah, bitch, she took sandwiches all over the goddamn place and brunch bars and all that shit. And I've got brunch bars in my bags now. Like, it's just a habit. Like, I'll chuck it in. I'll be like, oh, in case I get hungry, like, I've got that there, I can eat that. I've got a Go Bar in my car that's been there for like a year, which I keep offering to my friend when we go to the gym, and I don't know why she keeps declining it. It's a very tasty snack. So when I first developed my food anxiety, it was very extreme. I'd be worried that I'd get so hungry that I'd start losing weight and that I'd feel sick and that I wouldn't be able to eat, and then I'd become anorexic, and then I'd have to go to hospital, and then they'd have to force feed me, which obviously there's quite a few steps before that happens, but that was mentally what I thought would happen because I felt so ill and so sick from being anxious all the time. I was really struggling to eat and I was losing weight, which isn't good when you're like 50 kilograms. So that was a big old issue, and yeah, like it was so relieving and nice when I finally started to calm down and I could actually eat flavoured food again, because I was having to eat a lot of plain food. I'd have to scrape like the coating of, like, say I've got like a chicken, like a southern fried chicken fillet, I'd have to scrape off like the southern fried coating because I was scared it was going to make me sick, because I didn't want to be sick because then I'd have to eat again, and I felt extremely sick whilst I was eating. It's just ongoing bullshit really. It was very annoying. And this food issue and needing to have food with me when I travelled coincided with this travelling anxiety. I don't know why I got this travelling anxiety. It was bizarre. Before I turned 16, I've been lucky enough to be a very worldly travelled person. Is that the phrase? I don't know, I've been to a lot of places. I was very fortunate. I've been to the Caribbean with my family, I've been to America twice with my school, I've been all around the Mediterranean as well, and that was before I turned 16. So when I got this travelling anxiety, it was just demoralising and awful, because I'd get on the train at our local train station and I couldn't travel 20 minutes to Lakeside without getting to the other end and throwing up, which is why I had to take sandwiches with me. So there was one occasion I took my sister, so I must have been like 17 at the time and she would have been about 10, and I took her to the cinema and we got on the train at our station and we got off at Lakeside, and in the station I threw up, and I took plastic bags with me because I knew I was going to be sick, so I threw up, but I had sandwiches, so we went to the cinema and I ate my sandwiches like whilst we were waiting for the film. And then there was another time, I think it must have been my 18th birthday or something, or maybe my 17th birthday, I don't know, and my sixth form friends got on the train with me and we went to Southend, which is like a 35-minute train journey, I'm not really too sure, and I threw up on the way just because I was so anxious about travelling to where we needed to go. And I've been to Southend so many times and it was just sad, and they were like, oh my god, are you okay, what's wrong, because they didn't know what was going on, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm fine. I don't even know what I said, but it was just crap. And I remember the first day I planned to go to Lakeside, and I think I must have been meeting a friend there, and I said to my mum, oh, I'm going to Lakeside now, and she was like, oh, do you feel alright? And I was like, oh yeah, I feel okay. And I had to force myself into those situations. I had to forcibly go on the train in order for me to get used to and accustomed to going on the train again. And that first day when my mum said, oh, are you feeling alright? And I was feeling absolutely normal. I could get on the train without even thinking about packing something, without thinking about, oh, I'm going to be sick. I could just get on it. And it was such like a freeing feeling. Like when I'm in a really anxious state, it's just awful because you just feel like crap. But since then, because I do like force myself to go and do these things, my parents persuade me and tell me I'm going to do these things, I've been able to push through and travel sort of anywhere I want now without much anxiety around it. I went to Lisbon in November with a couple of my friends from uni, and it was the first time I've been on a plane in 2 years, and I could feel like the anxiety about it, but it was controlled and it was settled. If we'd have gone before COVID, I can just get on a plane easy, but because it'd been 2 years, my sort of anxiety, it hadn't come back, but it's like you have to keep on, I feel like I have to keep on top of it. So travelling out, I was a bit ill, but it was fine, it was controlled, it was alright. And then we got there and I was cool, and on the way home I was fine. Like, so it's just putting myself forward and doing it and being continuous, like, and continuously putting yourself out of that comfort zone and showing yourself like it is safe, it is okay, like you're going to be fine, like that you have nothing to worry about. And with the food as well, like I take food with me when I need to. Like I know I'll get hungry because I need to eat a lot anyway, so if I feel like I need to take a snack, I'll take a snack, but it's not detrimental anymore. I don't have to take it. If I know I'm going somewhere that has food, I don't need to take a sandwich anymore. It sounds bizarre, it sounds silly, but it was such a struggle, it was what I lived through, it was horrendous, and like, and I can explain to you like some of the symptoms. Like I had a really bad sort of anxiety breakdown last sort of January, February time, because I took this drug called topiramate. This drug was meant to help me with my migraines because I get migraines and I'm allergic to sumatriptan and the triptan family, which are the main drug for migraines, which is goddamn sod's law and so heckin' ironic that the only thing I'm allergic to is the one migraine medicine that I need. Anyway, the doctor gave me this topiramate, which is for helping with migraines, and it's also for epilepsy and bipolar disorder. Now, I am not diagnosed with anxiety, and I'll go that bitch. Don't even try and say like, oh, how do you know you got it if you ain't diagnosed, bitch? I know it's been 7 years. It's been 7 long years. But they gave me this topiramate, and after I took it and I had this anxiety breakdown and then I came off of it, I told my counsellor about it and she was like, yeah, they probably shouldn't have put you on that. And I was like, yeah, probably not. So I went on it, and at first I was okay, and then I started to get really anxious for no apparent reason. I couldn't really figure it out, and because of COVID I couldn't go and see my counsellor. We had to do phone calls, and it was like every week I'd have to call her, and it was just bizarre and I couldn't figure out what was wrong. I don't commonly get panic attacks at all with the type of anxiety I have. It's more like anxiety attacks, and if I'm using that in the right context, that is where these anxiety attacks can last over days, weeks or months, and this one lasted for about a month. And I remember sitting at the dinner table eating breakfast and I just felt so weak and drained and all my muscles were tense, and it felt like I was having muscle spasms like around my shoulder blades. My shoulder blades really ache, my back, my legs, my arms, and I'll be sort of sitting there shaking, trying to eat my breakfast, toast, and it felt like I was having like an out of body experience, because my skin didn't feel like my own, because it was just, everything was just riddled with adrenaline or noradrenaline, I can't remember which one, or cortisol, and I was just so unsettled and so not relaxed, and just nothing felt like I was in control. I was just sitting there, I felt like I was dying, basically. That was how it felt like. And I was losing weight because I couldn't, like when you're in an anxious state, like nothing stays in your system, you can't digest it, it just goes through, and because I have high metabolism, I'll have to constantly eat. But even though nothing was sitting, nothing was settling, it was awful. And as soon as I came off the topiramate, I started to feel better. And I was like, shit, that's what it was. I didn't know. And I was on it for a month, and it really messed me up. And it was meant to help with my migraines, and it didn't really. And then the next month, I had 19 migraines in 30 days. What the fuck? So, yeah, that was interesting. It's really hard to put into words how much it can affect you. Like, the way I've sort of described it, I don't know if I've done it justice. I've really tried. It sort of makes you feel when you're in that state, when you're in a really deep anxious state, it makes you feel not human. It makes you feel like nothing that anyone could say could make it better. You just have to sort of fight through it and survive through it. And sometimes I'll get depressive episodes, but they're not too bad. It's more the anxiety, because that is what I live with every day. I have a very overactive brain. It's very irritating. I'm a big old overthinker, and I will have narrations in my head just constantly throughout the day. From the moment I wake up to the moment I sleep, I'm talking to myself in my head. And I am very jealous of those people that just have nothing, because that would be sick. That would be so, it sounds so blissful, just having nothing in your head and then just speaking and the words come out instead of having just constant narration. It's irritating, but it makes me who I am, so it is what it is. So some of the things that make me feel better is exercise. Now when I'm quite anxious, I feel really weak and drained and I can't really go out and do those exercises, but I will try. I'll still go to the gym even if I'm feeling a bit shit. I'll be like, okay, I don't feel strong, but I want to go out on try and focus on something else just for a little bit, or I'll go out and play netball, because it releases endorphins, it releases happy hormones and things like that, and I do feel really good after I have exercised. Not necessarily when I'm feeling a bit anxious, but to prevent those sort of anxiety moments, I will exercise multiple times in the week. Other things that make me feel better is meeting up with friends. I love my friends, I love having laughs, I love spending time with them. I really like making my friends laugh. That's my favourite thing to do. That's probably why you'll see loads of shitty memes and TikToks and reels put on my Instagram stories if you watch my Instagram. And I like to laugh myself. I like to make myself look stupid and make myself laugh. I find my family really funny. They're a nice little group to be around. It's just us four and the dog. They're in Tenerife at the moment though. They heckin' left me in England to go to Tenerife, and now I'm dog sitting and house sitting. Thanks. What I really used to like doing before, when I was younger, was making YouTube videos. So if you delve into the rest of my YouTube channel, you'll see the copious amounts of videos I did with my 13 subscribers. And I don't know if I'll do something like this again, maybe, maybe not, but I make little TikToks. I just like creative things, I like practical things, things that I'll focus on and have my full attention to and put my mind on. So something I would like to recommend that my counsellor recommended to me in sort of January, February time last year when I was having my anxious breakdown is this book. So this is Dr. Claire Weeks, it's Dr. Claire Weeks. Self-help for your nerves. So this book, it was written by the doctor, obviously not the one that goes around fighting aliens and stuff though. She wrote it in sort of the 60s or something, so there is quite a lot of old language in this book, but it does go through a lot of shit. There's hella chapters, and it talks about different symptoms and things that you could be suffering from. There was one thing that she pointed out to me, which is actually chapter 16, and it's called That Dreaded Morning Feeling. And it talks about when you wake up and you feel really sick and awful and more anxious, but then throughout the day you start to feel more normal. And she wrote about it in this book in the 60s, and it's a thing. And I didn't know that it was a thing, and my counsellor pointed it out to me, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. So it does have helpful tips and tricks in there. It also talks about different types of symptoms that you might experience. I'm not saying it's a book that can cure you, but it's a book that can inform you. And I found it helpful. Granted, I haven't read it all, because I started getting through it and then I started feeling better because I came off the topiramate, but I found that it was a really informative and interesting read. If the background maybe looks a bit different or maybe I look blurry, it's because the camera died, so I ate dinner and then took the dog for a walk whilst it was charging, but we're back. Another reason why I wanted to make this video was because on social media I look like quite a confident girl who has got a nice sturdy group of friends, who goes on holidays, goes out to places, who goes clubbing, who does all these things. And you probably would look at me and be like, oh wow, she's like living her best life, she's doing alright. And most of the time, I'm doing alright. But I still live with anxiety every day. I still have this thing that I live with. And I'm probably going to live with it for the rest of my life, and that's just the way it is. And not everything is how it seems. Like, I look at other people on social media, and I'm just like, damn, they must not have anything wrong with them. But of course, that's not true, that's not the case. And like, I look at some other people on social media, and it just seems like it's almost like they'd never have a problem, they're always living their best life and things like that. And it's not always the case, it's not always true, and I wanted to demonstrate, like, perhaps it looks like I'm doing alright, which I am, but like, I do get those down days, I do feel like shit, I do feel sometimes just awful, and I just don't want to be in this realm for a while, but I don't know if that makes any sense. But I'm still here, I'm still living, I'm still surviving, I'm still getting through, and it does get better. And I feel so much better now than I did those 7 years ago. Like I was 16 dealing with this anxiety, and it was terrible. But I made some great friends, and I made some amazing memories, even through all those horrible times. And since then I've progressed and got to where I am now, and I'm so grateful that I did do what I did, and that I did feel ill when I did, and that I pushed myself, because if I didn't, I wouldn't be who I am today. And yeah, that's I suppose that's sort of the end of what I want to say. Like, but yeah, everyone that I've told in like past relationships or friendships, and I've said, oh, I have anxiety, they've never expected it. It's not something that I put on display, it's something that I hide. But also I want to go out and live my life and just push through it. I don't want to sort of succumb to the feeling. I want to get on and just do what I need to do in the day, whether it's go to work, whether it's go out for a meal, whether it's walking the dog and just getting out of the house. Like, I just want to get on with my day, because I know if I get on, I'll start to feel better sooner. I suppose that was a bit of a serious tone at the end of the video, but yeah, that's what I wanted to say. And I'm going to introduce you to my doggo. Rosie, I'm going to sit. You're going to sit on my lap. This is my doggo. It's Rosie. Ooh, baby. Thank you again for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I didn't know really what to speak about. There's a million and one things you can speak about with anxiety, but I thought it was just a nice sort of basic introduction into my life. Isn't that right? I'm going to leave the Amazon link for the book down below, and I'm also going to leave some other sort of mental health charities and bits and bobs down below as well, if you need any help or advice and things to look at. If you've got any questions or anything, you can write them in the YouTube comment section. I don't know how quickly I'll get back to those. And I'd also put my Instagram down below as well, so if you have any questions or anything like that, you can pop me a question on Instagram as well. But yeah, I hope that you all have a very happy and healthy 2022, and I'll see you guys soon. Yeah? Yeah. Bye!